Well, joining us now in the studio for our regular chat about economic issues is economics correspondent Stephen Long. Stephen Long, welcome. It all sounds too good to be true, pumping US dollars into the debt-laden economies of Europe, but is it too good to be true?
It is, in a sense, a little bit misleading, the reaction we've had on markets, Ali. We have a situation where, effectively, the money markets had shut down to European banks. They couldn't access short-term funding from the US money markets other than at prohibitive cost. So what's happened is that the central banks have stepped in with a facility that's been around for a long time, offering them money at an affordable rate for 3 months. But you think about that, it's actually confirmation about how bad things are. Yes, the markets have rallied because there's some short-term stability for the banks, but it's really saying that they had to get emergency funding. That is not a good sign. No,
it's another kicking the can down the road, isn't it? I mean, what happens when that 3 months is up?
It is, indeed. Just as what happens with the ongoing debt woes in Europe, that there's still no plan about how to resolve.
Well, I was going to ask you that very point. The EU finance ministers are meeting. I mean, what sort of, resolutions are they discussing, and what is the current state of play with Greece?
Well, there are a number of issues that they are discussing, and Greece is clearly right on the edge at the moment. The head of the International Monetary Fund, Christine Lagarde, has come out and said that unless they implement the measures that they are obligated to put in place for the next tranche of funding in the next month to keep them going, €8 billion, they won't get the money. Now, my understanding is that she and the IMF are under enormous pressure from Asian countries, developing nations who are saying, how come there's special treatment for a Western nation like Greece? We never got that when we were in trouble. And so Greece could effectively be foreclosed on by the IMF if they... And Greece can't meet the conditions, so that's at a very delicate edge. Even in the short run, the financial markets are pricing in a near 100% chance now of Greece defaulting within the next few years. The question is, will it be weeks or months, perhaps?
And does it get to stay in the Eurozone, or does it get kicked out?
Well, there was a really interesting article in one of the German newspapers, Bild, which was running through a detailed scenario for Greek debt default, some orderly managed default where after the close of markets approaching the weekend, it's announced that Greece is defaulting on its debt's being restructured, that they're pulling out of the euro. There's a transition with euro notes with cancelled on them as the Greek currency until they can reinstall the drachma, capital controls for the banks. Now, this may be pure speculation, but it was quite an interesting scenario.
But isn't the question, if that happens, what then happens to the debt of Italy and the debt of Spain and those far bigger economies?
The fear of a domino effect. But of course, it's all about protecting the banks. This is all about protecting the banks. I mean, in many ways, it would be much better for Greece to be able to do that, because then they could have a radical currency devaluation and have some hope of restoring themselves. But basically, I can't see that they've got a plan. They're looking at using this European Financial Stability Fund to try and buy bonds in the primary market. There's talk that will be leveraged, so they'll be borrowing with borrowed money, in effect, even within that facility, which opens up all sorts of risk for Europe. There's really no answer at the moment. They're still trying to work out how to manage this without a catastrophic and chaotic meltdown. But at least they're talking.
Yes, at least they're talking, but let's admit it, they have been talking for a very long time now.
Indeed.
Stephen Long, many thanks.
You're welcome.